Grab some Kansas barbecue and a French baguette and sit back for an enjoyable Wes Anderson experience. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watch Or Pass, and I'm here to talk to you about The French Dispatch, which is coming to theaters on October 22nd, 2021. It's the 10th Wes Anderson film. It's an all-new one, and it is very, very good. I really enjoyed it. The quick take is it's quirky, it's different. It is Wes Anderson, but I don't know, I'm trying to think of the right word. It doesn't feel like as Wes Anderson. The delivery is a little bit more natural, although it still has like that Wes Anderson style. And overall, I just thought it was a very fun, different movie. So that's my quick take. I'm going to talk a little bit about the film. Three things I liked, a couple things I didn't really love. But I'm going to try not to go into spoilers. They really wouldn't be that useful in this film. It is kind of like a bunch of different short stories. I'm just going to go into things about the film, but there might be some minor things that are revealed. I'm going to try not to talk about them, but I'm just talking about the film, so they might come out. So if you don't want to know anything about the film, stop watching now and just go see it when it comes to theaters on October 22nd. So The French Dispatch, it's a very interesting film. It's kind of, the story is there's this fictional newspaper that is set in this fictional French town, and the film follows kind of like the newspaper format. So there's a short introduction, like three kind of meaty episodes that are meant to be based on articles in this fictional newspaper, and then kind of an epilogue type of article, like an ending article. So it starts with a very short kind of like travel amuse-bouche, right? Like I'll try to use as many French words as I can, although I don't know that many, but it starts with like a very short travel kind of appetizer. And then you get into an episode about art, and then an episode about politics, and then an episode about like a food, a foodie type article, like a restaurant type article. And then there's like a deaths and obituaries thing at the very end. And that's kind of the structure of this, although those are basically just loose jumping off points. The episode has that name and has that subject, but that really is just a way to introduce some characters that are loosely based on that subject. The stories themselves are quirky and interesting and very, very different, and also very enjoyable. This film overall kind of has a reverence to it. It feels like maybe non-movie types of media and performance. It's interesting because the film has aspects that make it feel like a play or a show, where it has these kinds of elaborate sets and these instances where characters that could be kind of play extras will come on screen and do something that you would expect in some sort of play. So you'll have this I think there's one scene where there's like this street, and you'll have like one character come out and sweep, and one character will open a window, and a couple characters will walk down the street, and this is all in the setup to the overall story. And so you get these scenes where they feel like they could be out of some sort of play, maybe like a diorama, and the film itself is based on a magazine. And so what you have is you have this kind of celebration of writing and older types of entertainment in this movie that's being released in theaters and is in a 4:3 aspect ratio. And so it's an interesting kind of overall mystique to it that I really enjoyed. The first thing, and I'll go into the things I really enjoyed as well. I kind of touched on them already, but the first thing I really liked is the writing. The writing is very sharp and clever. There's a lot of wit and kind of a full commitment to these strange, quirky characters and this strange premise that make this film feel very unique. And the second thing I really loved is the cast and the characters. I mean, this cast is really an all-star cast, and they get to play some very, very different characters. I mean, you can't always get that in a Wes Anderson film. You get you get these famous actors playing very quirky, very different, out there characters, and this is no exception. But I think just because of the number of stories that you get to see a whole lot of your favorite actors doing some very different and interesting roles. I think some of my favorites are Benicio Del Toro's character was really interesting. I really liked Timothée Chalamet, especially after seeing him earlier this week in Dune. I got to see him in this kind of more down-to-earth role for him. I liked Léa Seydoux's character after seeing her like last week in Bond. You get to see a lot of your favorite actors in very different roles, and I think that was a lot of fun to see. So the last thing I really liked is the style. And as I mentioned, this is a Wes Anderson film, so it has that Wes Anderson trademark look and feel to it. The characters are quirky. They do kind of have dialogue that feels very rich and also like to the point. But there are some aspects of this film that really make it feel like a wholly unique experience. Like I mentioned, some parts do feel like they're out of a play. Some parts feel kind of like a diorama because you have a character that goes through this very elaborate set, and you're watching it from a pulled out view. So it does look almost like a prop set. It was actually an interesting way to kind of start the film. You also have the film in a 4:3 aspect ratio, which gives it kind of this classic older feel that I think it's supposed to maybe evoke the time that this film was set in. It's set in like the 70s, which is kind of an earlier time in television, and so maybe 4:3 was more normal. You also have some different storytelling elements. You've got the film in black and white for a lot of parts of it, and then you'll have splashes of color. Some of the stories are all in color, others are in black and white with this kind of like cut to color here and there that does feel like it's evoking a very different time. And then you also have this animated sequence partway through in one of the stories that was actually very interesting. It was funny, it was clever, kind of it let the story get a little crazier without having to show all of that and have these characters do some of these crazy things. So I thought that was very clever as well. It was a funny sequence that that fit perfectly with this whole film. And so all these came together into this unique experience that just felt very different from a lot of the other things that are out there right now. Things I didn't like, I guess. I really liked the whole film. Like there wasn't really much I didn't like. I guess if I had to criticize something, the pace felt slow at times, and that might just be a Wes Anderson thing, especially when the film started with some like a very short introductory story, and I was like, oh, this is going to have a bunch of very interesting, funny short stories. And then the second, I guess the second episode of the first full episode was a longer experience. I think it was like 30 or 40 minutes. So it did feel very different from this very short intro. But that being said, I really enjoyed the whole film. So the fact that it started with a short part and then had 3 meatier episodes and then kind of ended with the last part, it just felt different. But after that first episode, the other ones didn't feel as slow. So maybe it was just a kind of juxtaposition thing. And the second thing I didn't really love is the kind of the lack of overall interaction between the stories. They were kind of self-contained episodes. I would have liked to see a little bit of bleed through, but you know what? I also can't fault it because they were supposed to be separate stories. So the fact that they didn't necessarily relate, other than it's in this overall magazine, was not really a big issue. I just kind of thought it would be fun to have some more overlap between them. But again, I can't really fault either of those things because I still did enjoy the movie a lot. It's like I said, it's a very unique experience. It's very fun. It's very witty. I laughed a lot. I enjoyed a lot of the weirder aspects of it. And so if that sounds interesting to you, you should definitely also check out The French Dispatch. It's coming to theaters on October 22nd, 2021. So you can check it out then. Let me know what you think. Let me know what, whether you enjoyed it, whether you didn't like it. Again, I thought it was a very fun and interesting film. So thanks so much for watching. If you liked this review, please like and subscribe to this channel and check out some of the other content as well. I've got video reviews, I've got interviews, I've got unboxing videos, and then every week I do a weekly recommendation of things that I've seen and things that kind of come to rental and streaming. So check those out as well, and thanks so much.